All right, let's be real for a second. Somewhere in your business, something is broken. You know it, your team knows it, and you can bet your customers feel it. But you just keep slapping on another patch, right? Hoping it'll just hold on for one more quarter.
It's this super frustrating cycle of temporary fixes, wasted effort, and problems that just keep coming back. You're constantly reacting, not actually improving. You're basically bailing water out of a boat instead of just plugging the leak. So the million-dollar question is, why? Why do these problems feel like they're on a boomerang, always circling back no matter how many times you swear you've fixed them? Well, the answer is actually pretty simple. You're just patching up the cracks you can see without ever looking at the faulty foundation underneath. But what if there was a better way? A structured, data-driven method to figure out the real problem and create a solution that actually sticks? Well, good news. There is. It's called DMAIC. So DMAIC stands for Define, Measure, Analyze, Improve, and Control. Think of it as a 5-phase improvement cycle that guides you from that vague feeling of, something's wrong, all the way to a controlled, optimized process. Now, yeah, it's a core tool in big methodologies like Six Sigma, but you don't need to be some quality guru to use it. At its heart, it's a really practical formula for fixing just about anything. So, let's start right where every successful project has to. Phase 1, define. Think about it. You can't hit a target you can't see. If you don't know exactly what you're trying to fix, you're pretty much just shooting in the dark. In the define phase, you create what's called a project charter. And no, this isn't just more paperwork. It's your North Star for the entire project. It makes you clarify the business problem, set a really specific goal, outline the scope. It gets everybody on the exact same page. You're building the foundation right here. And this just shows you the difference perfectly. On the left, you've got this vague complaint. Customer satisfaction is too low. Okay, what does that mean? But on the right, you have a goal that is smart. That means it's specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and time-bound. You're not just improving satisfaction, you're going for a 90% score in the next quarter. That's a clear target, and believe me, that clarity is what drives success.
Okay, let's move on to the measure phase. Once you know your target, you absolutely have to know where you're starting from. This is the point where opinions and gut feelings stop and the data starts talking. The goal here is pretty simple. Quantify the problem. You have to establish a baseline, because without it, you have literally no way of knowing if your so-called improvements actually improved anything at all. This step forces you to get objective, to collect good data, and to understand the current state of your process in cold, hard numbers. Now, what's so cool about this is how a simple tool can give you incredible focus. This is a Pareto chart. Just look at it. It immediately screams at you that while you have a few types of problems, one of them, late deliveries, is causing a whopping 70% of the pain. The Pareto principle totally clarifies the chaos. So instead of chasing every little issue, you now know exactly where to focus your energy for the biggest impact. All right, so with a clear problem and some solid data in hand, we are ready for the detective work. Welcome to the analyze phase. This is where we stop looking at what is happening and we really start digging into why it's happening. The key phrase here, and I really want to stress this, is root cause. We are not looking for surface-level issues or easy explanations. We're using the data we collected to find, validate, and select the fundamental reason for the problem so we can eliminate it for good. A classic tool for this is the fishbone diagram, sometimes called an Ishikawa diagram. It helps your team brainstorm all the potential causes of a problem by organizing them into these useful categories like people, process, and technology. This structured approach is awesome because it stops you from jumping to conclusions and makes sure you explore every possibility before you zero in on the real, validated root cause. And now, my friends, for the payoff. We've defined the problem, we've measured it, we've analyzed the root cause. It is time to build the solution. That brings us to the improve phase. And right after that, we'll make sure that solution lasts in the control phase. So in the improve phase, your team gets to be creative. You brainstorm, you run pilots, you implement solutions that directly attack those root causes you found. This is where you actually design and build the fix that is going to solve the problem, not just cover it up again. And some of these solutions can be incredibly clever. You might use something called yoke, which is Japanese for mistake proofing.
Think about how a USB cable can only be plugged in one way. That's yoke. You literally design the process so it's physically impossible to make a mistake. See, these aren't just patches, they are permanent upgrades to how you work.
So after you improve, you have to move to the final and maybe most crucial step, control. You've got to prove that your fix actually worked and ensure the problem doesn't creep back in. This is a control chart. Before the fix, see how the data points are just jumping all over the place? That's the sign of an unstable process. But after, look at this. The process is stable, it's predictable, the data stays nicely within the control limits. This is the visual proof that your gains are real and, more importantly, that they are here to stay.
So what's the ultimate takeaway from all this? DMAIC fundamentally changes your mindset. It moves you from a state of constant chaotic reaction to a state of proactive optimization. You stop fighting fires, and you start building a fireproof system.
By following this 5-step formula, you basically gain a superpower, the ability to untangle your most complex problems and create lasting, data-driven solutions. It's a repeatable method for real, permanent change. So, think about your own work, your own team. What broken process will you fix first?